Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all well and quite a nice morning. Bit sunny, bit cloudy, but hey, it's warm still, which is brilliant. Welcome to Ask the Expert, a daily series from 8:30 to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. Ask any questions in the comments or use the hashtag QBATE on Twitter. If you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. During this live session, we'll be running a poll, so do engage with it, and I will reveal the results at the end. So my name is Sean Goldsmith. I'm a special advisor to business and to franchising in particular. I work with a great many franchisors. I also am the sort of co-founder and lead on a group called the Franchise Mastermind group, which currently has about 400 franchise professionals in it, of which about 350 are probably franchise networks. So just to put that into perspective, if you've got 350 franchise networks, you're probably talking about 20, maybe even 30,000 small businesses within their networks, within the greater network. So I've been working in the wonderful world of franchising for a very, very long time, for 15, 16 years. That might not seem like long to others, but in the franchising world, that's quite a stretch. And it's been absolutely brilliant. Every part of it has been inspiring and wonderful. Now, we're in a funny situation. We've gone through lockdown. We are facing an impending second wave. And for years and years, franchisors have always spoken to their franchisees about strategic alliances. So when a franchisee launches their business, they go out into the big wide world. On day one, those franchisors are saying to them, go out and find other businesses which will complement your service and try and form strategic alliances with them. Now, what is a strategic alliance? Well, it really depends on how closely you want to work with another company. But in the broader sense of the word, what we have always used strategic alliances for has been for marketing, because you might have a cleaning company who cleans high-end homes, who, funny enough, goes and forms a strategic alliance with a butcher, the local butcher. And the reason the butcher is because the butcher is selling premium cuts to premium clients, and there's a great sort of alliance over there. Equally with upmarket hairdressers, etc. But in this current time that we face ourselves, we need to start looking at strategic alliances in a very, very different way. And I'm very, very pleased to say that the franchising world has started to do this. And to their credit, I think it's going to be something that's in the coming months and potentially even years is going to be very, very fruitful. So let me just tell you what I'm talking about right now in terms of strategic alliances. So throughout history, whenever there's been a great challenge, for mankind or for countries or even for villages, what they've done is they've pulled together. Now, a lot of us might think, okay, we are pulling together, we are talking to each other, we're joining mastermind groups, part of our local networking group, BNI, we join calls like this. We do all of those things and we converse with other business people. But in this current day and age, what we have to do is we have to take that much closer. So let's just take an example like the marketing right now. If, say, for instance, you were a dog walker, right? The dog walking sector has taken a bit of a pummeling over the past few months because, people are at home and there's various reasons why the dog walking has kind of slowed down. But we are now at a stage where people need to get their dogs walking, and we know that the industry is picking up, etc. But there's going to be a second wave potentially. So what you do is the dog walker can go and speak to the dog groomer, can go and speak to the pet sitter, can go and speak to the dog trainer and say, guys, listen, together we're much stronger. Why don't we take all of our combined marketing budgets and we start marketing together? Why don't we start marketing as a single service, a single point of service? So instead of going into that local glossy magazine as a very, very expensive full page, what you do is you slice that up into 5, right? And you go in and you come under a single umbrella. And it's very, very cheap and easy to do these things because you can just create like a landing page, and you could put each of the services on the landing page, with different telephone numbers, etc. So there's no sort of competition between the services, but pulling together means that what you're giving the consumer is a lot more value in the sense that they can just go to one place and they know that they're going to get all of their pet services, on that one website, or on that Facebook page, or however you decide to do it. This can be followed through to almost any industry that you can think of, right? Especially small businesses. For you guys out there who have these small businesses, who might be thinking about, what's to come. In the last month, at least, I've seen quite a number of businesses just saying, look, we've survived lockdown, we got our bounce back loan, we got our CBILS loan, but now things are still taking a lot longer to actually pick up. And people are necessarily worried, and this is a trying time, especially with all the redundancies going on there. So with these strategic alliances, if you can go and start looking at your networking groups, but don't just go to them thinking, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to speak to somebody and they're going to give me a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. We're all going to agree that, life is terrible and, we must crack on. Instead of doing that, why don't you go and purposefully start looking at companies that will complement the service that you offer? Because if you can up the value of what your company offers by strategically aligning yourself with other companies, what you might be able to do is actually just give yourself a huge advantage when things start getting a lot tougher. So standing together is absolutely crucial right now. As I said, the franchising industry is doing this in a really, really good way right now. I was using the pet sort of sector as an example. We've seen this happening in the cleaning businesses. Even the trades have been very, very busy. But bearing in mind that we've got a situation where I think I saw on the BBC that 900,000 people were made redundant last month. This is absolutely astounding. So if you are not thinking about the big wave of competitors that are about to hit your business also on top of everything else, just remember all of those people who sort of come out of their jobs, or they've just been made redundant. Those guys are currently just thinking, how on earth am I going to feed my family? What am I going to do? And they're going to go into natural things. They're going to go and start their own businesses, especially if there are no jobs available. So not only do I think that the economy is going to be a little bit difficult, but there are also going to be a lot more competitors. So right now, gather your forces, form a little army in your own sector, make sure that it's super strong and that the value that you guys are offering is above anything that any individual could offer. Club together your marketing spend if you can, make sure that you're following up with customers. I would highly, highly recommend, and this is one thing that makes the franchising sector really sort of stand out, is using call centers, call answering services, to make sure that when that customer calls, they are on it immediately. Guys who are doing live chat, sometimes it seems quite expensive, but I tell you what, when you get a customer, and that customer's lifetime value, or even just that one-off sale, is worth 100, 200 pounds or whatever. It doesn't seem that expensive at all. So it's really, really interesting in that, if you do just change your mindset from just talking to people and much rather going and actually actively working on alliances, you're actually going to be in a much stronger position than you would be. So yeah, brilliant, cool. So we've got a few questions coming in. We've actually got a question from Johan from Facebook Messenger. Hi, Sean. How did you get into the world of franchising? I'm thinking about a career change and wondering if you have any advice on where I can learn more about franchising to see if it would suit me. Johan, actually, I got into franchising because I was working with a very, very large online retailer. I was a supplier, and overnight, I had about 800 people working for me up and down the country. And overnight, we got word that America, from the American head office, just saying, look, we think it's going to be a bit of a tough trading condition for the next month. And they basically just canceled the staff for the next 2 months. They didn't cancel the contract, just the staff. And it really hit me hard. I was very young. I was 24. I just arrived in the UK when all of this happened. So I kind of sold the business, and I went out looking for other opportunities and came across somebody who kind of took me under his wing and taught me about this world of franchising. And, you know, ironically, the tough time I had when I was very young, going through the business and building this large organization, you know, gave me the ability to actually be able to coach people. And it really just became something that I fell in love with head over heels. But where to find out more information, I would definitely go onto the British Franchise Association website. But more importantly, just phone some franchisors. You know, getting into franchising is a very, very wise move, because, you know, the guys I've seen firsthand, I've been working with the franchisors themselves, and they have been astounding throughout lockdown. They've been so incredibly supportive, more often than not to their own detriment, to make sure that their franchisees are surviving and doing well, etc. So I definitely go and you know, just check that out. Also, there's a website that you can go and take a look at various options with regards to franchise opportunities, called What Franchise. You know, so just go and have a browse on there. There's millions, you know, so it's really good for you to go into. Sonia from Instagram, direct message. Do you have any examples of franchising businesses that built alliances successfully? Lots. You know, there are. Well, I mean, you know, there was we just spoke about the dog walking and the dog grooming. So there are within that sector, there are a few alliances. We know that there are big brands. So there's a big company called Franchise Brands that has basically pulled together some great franchises. So any of their brands are really good to take a look at. So yeah, but just remember, a lot of these are slightly informal. So when you speak to your franchisor, or when you go out there and, you know, just do a bit of your homework, they'll be able to tell you exactly what's going on. Right, Russell from Instagram. Excuse me. Good morning. What is the best way to recruit franchisees? The $100 million question. You know what? You just got to be out there. So there are great websites. I mentioned What Franchise, magazines, you know, Global Franchise. Those are all the traditional sort of franchising recruitment places. But Facebook is doing really well at the moment. You know, basically there isn't any single answer. You know, Facebook ads combined with Google ads, combined with traditional franchise locations, even local magazines would you know, be useful to go into. It really depends on your sector. Russell, if you want to have a chat about that, and, you know, I just give me a bit more idea as to where you're coming from, what your brand is, be more than happy to chat. So just contact me directly, no problem. Right. So morning, Sean. What would you say the main advantages of building a strategic alliance are? I'm looking to build one in the hospitality sector. You know what, the reality is, the main advantage is that you can combine resources. So in the franchising world, so I'm busy working on a project at the moment, which is actually the map over there, where you can effectively take all the back end services. So you can have between 5 companies, you can actually have a single, you know, marketing person that is doing a lot of the marketing, because I know that's possible and true, because we do it in franchising all the time. You know, where you'd have 1 or 2 marketing people doing 3 or 4 brands. You know, so shared resources, the money that you can actually club together to actually get better exposure on, you know, even if you were doing something like Facebook ads and you had combined sort of, you know, campaigns, that would work really well. There's a lot of things. The other thing, which is not really as tangible, but you're in a team all of a sudden. And as a small business, that doesn't really happen very often, because as an entrepreneur, you have very few places to turn to, especially when it comes to just being able to talk through what you know, the issues that you're facing. And if you have a strategic alliance, or what, you know, you could call a mastermind group like they have over in the States quite often, you know, it's well worth, you know, the time. Let's just see over here. Damien from Instagram. What advice do you wish you'd have gotten when getting into the world of franchising? I loved it immediately. So every single trial and tribulation I went through in franchising, I absolutely loved, right? Even the tough times. But the best advice I would probably say that most franchisors wish they would have had is the emotional side of being a franchisor. It is an incredibly taxing business. A lot of franchisees see it from a franchisee point of view, and, you know, there's this big head office, etc., or maybe even a small head office. And because the franchisee is basically paid a franchise fee, there's an expectation of service and all of these things. With a franchisor, when they franchise their business, they genuinely believe everything about their business. And if you have a franchisee, as an example, who starts questioning the model, or making extra demands and all those kind of things, you'd be surprised how very personally the franchisor takes it. They don't show it, but they do take it very seriously. And over the last few months, especially with this lockdown, I've seen some really some great people having a very, very tough mental time, because they absolutely feel the responsibility, the collective responsibility of their whole network. They're amazing people. I actually call franchisors, and I shout this from the rooftop, I actually call them the mob, the masters of business, because they not only are building their own small business, which comes with all of the trials and tribulations that everybody else would have, but on top of that, they're helping sometimes hundreds of other people build up their small businesses and feed their families and achieve their dreams. So it's really, really interesting. Right. So Lucian from Facebook Messenger. Hi, Sean. Great to see you back. Oh, thank you. I'm thinking about going into franchising. What would you say are the pros and cons of joining a large conglomerate like Burger King versus a startup franchise? They require a different person. So Lucian, it's down to you, really. I've always been a guy who loves the small business kind of environment, because it's quick, it's fast, you get to make more of an impact. Even if you're joining a franchise, there's an ability to be able to go to the franchisor and just say, hey, why don't we try this, or can I try this, or whatever. Burger King and the McDonald's of the world and those big franchises, they are just so incredibly sorted. Every single thing. I mean, I still remember speaking to the head of McDonald's in South Africa, and before COVID even hit, before lockdown hit, they already had like a red, orange, and green sort of folder for, if this happens, then this, if this happens. So when COVID hit, they were absolutely fine. They already had a process ready, where a lot of other franchises wouldn't. So if you are looking to go into a Burger King or a McDonald's, that kind of thing, if that's your sort of chosen area, then you are definitely going to be in a lovely corporate environment, and it'll be hard work, but it'll be fantastic. If you go into the smaller ones, then you will have the ability to, I think, there's a lot more cut and thrust in it. So I guess that's the best advice I can give. I hope it helps. Curtis from Facebook Messenger. Can you leave a franchise if things don't work out, and how does that work? Curtis, tough question. The answer is yes, technically, but when you get into a franchise, it is very much, and I'm going to use a phrase that franchisors use around the world. It's like getting into a marriage, right? It's really easy to get in, very tough to get out. And it has to be that way. It has to be that way, because the franchisor, I think a lot of people have the misconception or perception that the franchisor, the contract, is absolutely biased towards the franchisor. In reality, what it is it's very, very biased to the network. Having people go and come within the franchise network is detrimental to the network itself, just from a brand reputation point of view. So, you might be in a fantastic area like Oxford, and build up a wonderful reputation or a terrible reputation, right? Whatever the situation, the franchisor has to make sure that area is looked after, etc. And also, so the agreements are very, very tight. It's very difficult to get out. Your best bet, basically, for getting out of a franchise is to build it up as much as you can, and then sell it, with the franchisor's permission. I hope that helps. Right, Taylor from Facebook Messenger. Good morning. To build a strategic alliance with other franchising businesses, in practice, how can that work? Taylor, it all starts with a conversation, right? And a very, very honest conversation saying, hi, I'm Taylor, and this is my business. I realize that you have a very similar business, and we've got franchisees, as an example, who are in areas and operating next to each other. We don't compete, but wouldn't it be great if, instead of trying to scrape together all our pennies and get a quarter-page ad in a tiny magazine, wouldn't it be great if we work together and we started taking full page ads. And imagine if we got so-and-so down the road who also has franchisees in the area, to also work with us. I think it's as simple as that. You just have that conversation. And you'd be surprised how very eager people are. Weirdly enough, I think it's just that it's never occurred to people. I don't think people have avoided, strategic alliances. I just don't think that, it's ever occurred to people that was within the rules, that you were allowed to, have those kind of conversations. You absolutely are. But, as small business owners and as, you see the movies and all those kind of things, you just think that you have to be super secretive. Somebody's going to steal your ideas and go and run away with them, etc. COVID has taught us that even intellectual property is a very, very vague concept right now, because most businesses have gone online. Your competitors probably could have just joined a Zoom call at some point and learned all your secrets. So really, what you need to do is you just need to be the guy who adds all the value. So go and have that conversation. I think you'll be surprised, as I said. Flo from Twitter, direct message. Do you recommend going into a franchise that you're interested in or that will make money? Flo, generally speaking, if they are a BFA, British Franchise Association accredited franchise, will they make money is more up to you than up to the franchise. So yes, they will make money because they go through processes. Everyone takes, the BFA takes a look at their numbers, their structures and everything. And also in my experience, in fact, I'll take it to a different level. In the last NatWest survey amongst franchising, they basically found that 93.7% of all franchise businesses are not only still in business after 3 years, but they're profitable. So you will make money. So actually what you need to do is you need to focus on what it is that you are going to love. More importantly, you need to spend some time getting to know the franchisor. The salesperson is the one thing, but more important than the salesperson is the support person. You want to get to know the person who's going to be backing you up when you're actually operating. So yeah, absolutely go with something that you are going to enjoy. And most importantly, make sure that you know the people that are going to be supporting you, because they are the ones who will help you continue enjoying it, or turn your love into a hate. So yeah. Maya from Instagram. Hi, thanks for all of the info so far. What would you say the main advantages of franchising is? It's being part of a group, being part of a team, being part of a single brand. I suppose a strategic alliance of note is a franchise. That's where it begins and it ends. But I've seen over lockdown the incredible amounts of support, as I said before, that the franchisors have given. Franchisees have been unbelievably supportive of each other, which has been incredible to see. So what you have is a situation where, effectively the franchisor at lockdown, generally speaking, the franchisors drop down all of their management service fees or their royalties, as depending on what you call them. And, in order to make sure that the franchisees were okay. And they then just started going absolutely crazy with a value added offering, So there's a lady in particular that I'm thinking of, Anne-Marie from a brand called Diddy Dance. Anne-Marie is the franchisor of a brilliant network. She's an incredible person in her own right. But she is on things like TikTok and Facebook Live and Instagram 3-4 times a day, basically just making sure that the brand is out there, that everybody knows about it. She's working so incredibly hard. I can't even tell you. So you get that kind of situation when the franchisor is doing it for the whole network. But then what you also have is the franchisees coming together and just saying, right, guys, especially when somebody's having a down, a bit of a downer and they're feeling a bit depressed. The massive advantage is just having that support network that come and say, come on, we can do this. We'll do it together. That cannot be underestimated, in my opinion. Tom from Twitter, what do you see as being successful? Do you have an end goal in your mind where you'd be happy? Well, Tom, for me personally, I'm a bit of a mission-driven person. So, for me, it is all about, just building a franchising world that actually, is different and exciting and innovative. So I'm a mission-driven people. I know a lot of people who are who are money driven. I love what I do. So I don't think I'll ever sort of have that moment where I say, right, I'm successful. I just enjoy the process that I'm going through within the franchising world. So I don't really have an end goal necessarily in mind. Helping hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of people be successful in their small businesses is probably for me the my measure of success. But who knows where that actually ends. Right. So we have Jackie from Instagram. Do you have you seen any? Oh, hold on. Just moved. Oh, have you seen any industries in franchising doing better than others in the last 6 months? Absolutely. The care sector, as an example, they've been working flat out. If they've ever been heroes, the NHS has done a great job, but the care sector has taken in so many of the vulnerable. So the care franchises like Bluebird Care and various others have just been out there, and they've been absolutely storming it. They've been done fantastically. A lot of the outdoor franchises have done really well. So anything to do with DIY has done very well. I know that there are guys who still doing all the lawn cutting, and their demand is, weirdly enough, not actually necessarily going down, even though people are at home. So those kind of businesses have done really well. But I think if there was a standout sector, it has to kind of be the care sector, I think, in the franchising world. Of course, the accountants have done a great job too, so they're going to be really, really busy. Right, so let's take a look at the poll results. So the poll results are in, and we asked you, do you know how to form a strategic alliance with another company? And 0% of you said yes. Right. So look, guys, if you need any advice or would like any advice, please, honestly, just drop me an email. We do this all the time in the franchising industry, and I'd be more than happy to just give you a few pointers. Any questions, please get in touch with QuickBooks support team on Facebook, or myself on Sean@thespecialadvisor.com, or visit the website. I've actually got a website called myfranchiseboard.com, which is a bit of a mastermind group. So if you are a franchisor and you're interested in joining like-minded people, please join us. Coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is Esther Stanhope, who is an international speaker, award-winning author, and personal impact expert. As a former live BBC producer and now a successful business speaker, she can up your game in pitches, presentations, and remote meetings instantly. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. So guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a fantastic day, and good luck with your businesses. Just remember, it's you've got everything in you that it will take to make this work. That's it. Thank you. Bye-bye.